Now, what do you do in the middle of a Saturday night when you can't sleep? Let's make a video. Get a nice fresh haircut. I got sick of being compared to Andy Serkis, so I figured, what the hell? Let's shave, let's cut the hair. Enough of that nonsense. The video is, of course, our last sparring session we had at the gym. What's really cool is they let my 13-year-old son participate with the older guys. They went pretty easy on him. It was his first time, but, it was kind of turning out to where the younger kids, while they had a higher aptitude than him because they've been doing it a lot longer, the age gap, everybody assumes my son's a lot younger than he actually is because he's short. When I was a freshman in high school, I was 4'11", so he's kind of got my curse. Obviously I grew. I told him, I said, if you follow him, genetically, if you follow me, by the time you're a senior in high school or you're 20 years old, you're going to be close to 5'9", so hopefully that happens for him. But right now, unfortunately, because of how short he is, everybody treats him like he's a 10-year-old. And I thought, you know what, if I bumped him up, I would try it out the adult class just to see how it would go, And the guys were really good. They worked with him. He learned some new stuff. And I noticed that when he's with the older guys, he's not nearly as aggressive. When he's with the younger kids, he tends to, when he gets tagged, he loses his composure and he starts going after him like it's a WWE, wrestling match. And I got to find some way of reeling that aggression in. But I think maybe this is the way to go. But we'll find out. I don't know. Look, man, kids don't come with manuals. I'm doing the best I can. All right, so topic of discussion, because I don't, you guys don't really care about my Muay Thai training. I posted plenty of videos about that. It's just like an overlay while we chat. I wanted to talk about how ridiculous YouTube fitness is in general, just weightlifting channels. I've been watching a lot of small content creators, just doing research, trying to see like the ones that are successful, what sets them apart. What do the average ones look like for people that are just starting out? And this is what I've noticed, and this includes my channel too. When we get online and we start making videos, generally we start filming ourselves working out. And my first, let's say, month or two of videos was these super long training videos where I'd literally just film me training. And I thought that was interesting content. And in between sets, I would talk to the camera and try to explain what I was doing. Now, I didn't have a live audience, so I'm just talking to the camera like I'm talking to myself, thinking, wow, people are going to be super interested in this. And going back and watching the videos, I'm like, wow, this is really boring. I notice a lot of channels, they're like, they film their entire workouts and then they talk about like meal prep and the supplements they take, and all the channels are the same. It's like, okay, like it's just not interesting. Not to me, anyways. I guess if you're a mechanic, do you find it interesting when other mechanics work on cars? Or if you're a carpenter, you're going to watch a show about house building. Like, if it's just watching some guys put the framing up, what makes it interesting? What sets it apart? Then you have other channels that do like sort of product reviews. They buy gym equipment, they test it out, they tell you what's good, what's bad. Those are kind of cool. And then you have other channels that are like coaching, like guys that are super knowledgeable about training. And, guys like Bromley or Zach Tellender, really engaging. They show you interesting things. They teach you stuff. Then there's other channels where it's just like troll videos. Like guys just get online and lift. They just show them, like little short videos, and, they're just ego lifters having fun. And then I thought about like what makes an interesting channel different from an uninteresting one, besides your personal interest, like something you see somebody that you like the way they talk, you like the cadence and the diction of their speech, and you find they're easy to listen to. Aside from that, what are the content they're actually talking about? And I noticed that a lot of them that are actually interesting, they don't just talk about weightlifting. They talk about life. They're relatable. They talk about their problems. They talk about just things generally. Weightlifting's a big part of it. Nutrition's a big part of it. Teaching's a big part of it, but it's not the whole thing. It's like they are actually interesting people, and it's kind of a parasocial relationship where you feel like you get to know the person, kind of like listening to a Joe Rogan podcast, or like a Renaissance periodization of Dr. Mike Israetel, listening to him break down videos of people training, or Zach Tellender talking about the state of Olympic lifting and how he feels about the sports in general, and he talks about like it's almost a philosophical thing. And then you get guys like Derek from More Plates, More Dates, where he breaks down like insane PED abuse, and they talk natty or nots, that kind of thing. Then you got your Greg Doucette's where he just he talks crap about other people, and then he shows his product for a half hour. And there's like a lot of small channels that try to like mimic this idea of being profound. Who was it? What was the guy's name? His name was like Leonidas or something like that. Or maybe there was Alpha Destiny, and there was like Bald Omni Man. There was like a handful of them, and they're super serious about their training. There was a bunch of powerlifters, and they just really I don't know. It's almost like you feel like you're being lectured to. You know, they're super serious. They're not funny. You know, nothing makes you laugh. It's just like, it's really useful information. They're outstanding lifters, and you know, I get a lot of great information from them. But it's hard to sit through a whole video. It's just not fun. When I was learning how to be a supervisor, the general contractor I was working for, his name was Jody Dodge, and he built Vegas. Like he's the guy that built the wind towers. Like he's like a rock star of construction, if there is such a thing. Like, you know, if you're in the construction world in Vegas, you know that name. You know what I mean? He's one of those type people. He told me one time when I was just getting started, and I was having personnel issues because I, you know, I was approaching things like being an NCO in the military, like kind of dressing people down when they weren't doing the right thing, or, you know, trying to command them to do stuff. And I was having issues where people just weren't taking my lead. They weren't paying, you know, they weren't like falling in line. And he pulled me aside one day and he's like, you know, he gave me a piece of advice that really stuck with me. And I've carried it through everything I've ever done. Since he told me that, it was like that life-changing, that profound. And simply put, he just said, be the type of person you want to hang around with. And think of like the leadership that you listen to, the guys that you follow, the guys that you enjoy working with. What do they have in common? And I was thinking about it. I'm like, well, they're cool dudes. They're direct. They're assertive. They're clear-cut. When they give you instructions, you know exactly what they want. They offer you encouragement, and when you make mistakes, they don't treat you like crap. They help you fix the problem, and they resolve it in a manner that's amicable for everybody. You enjoy working for them. You're motivated to try, and you want to please those people. And they're just fun to work with. They make the day go by faster. He's like, yeah, well, be that guy. Huh. Okay. Well, I mean, it's the same thing with YouTube content creation. You know, all these weightlifters, they take themselves so seriously. Or they're so angry. Or they're like, the passion's awesome, but it's like, what are we doing? We're not superheroes. We're not saving anybody. We're not in the military. We're not in life and death situations. We're just dumbasses lifting weights. I'm a meathead in my garage, and I pick heavy things up, and I'm stronger than most people. Okay, great. You know, it doesn't make me better than anybody. And there's a lot of things, like a lot of people will get on my streams and they either, you know, troll me and they make fun of me, or they heap undue amounts of praise on me, and it makes me feel awkward because I never learned how to take a compliment growing up. But it makes me like, I feel like, I don't know, I feel when somebody says something that makes me more than I am, or I feel like I'm more than I am, they give me some kind of praise that I feel is undeserved. I don't know, it just makes... One, I need to learn how to take a compliment, and two, I have to give myself more credit. But the important point I'm trying to make is, like, we're not really doing anything that's that life-changing or that special. We are just weightlifters. We pick heavy things up and put them down. And I think where we do show value is when we share our life experiences. And, you know, people ask, like, well, how do I get to be like you? Well, aside from being psychotically dedicated to training and lifting weights, what drives me as a person to want to be like this? And would that even be good for you to want to be like me? You know, what conditions mentally, what sort of life catastrophes have to happen in order to create this abomination before you that has this drive to succeed at the cost of everything else? Is that a good thing to have? Well, it can be in certain situations, like in construction, when you're trying to build a high-rise and you have this amount of time to get this much work done. It's good to have people like us in there because we're psycho and we're driven, and we'll get that building built even if it costs us our family and our health and our lives. And for what? Nobody's going to appreciate it or care about us after we're gone and the building's built and we're kicked down the road. But we just have to, we're that type of people. We're mentally obsessive. It's like, not this drive to break these records. And for what? Nobody's going to care. It's not like I'm going to walk down the street and they're going to be like, hey, you're that guy that beat those records at the age of 50 years old. Yeah, that's me. No one's going to give a shit. No one knows who I am now. Nobody's going to know who I am when I break the records, and nobody's going to care after they're done. So who's it for? Well, this is where I should give myself more credit, because inside of the powerlifting community, people know who I am, and they even say they watch my videos and they're entertaining. So I guess you could say I have a minor celebrity status in a niche sport around a certain small demographic of people. I have achieved the pinnacle. Hooray! I'm still not Ed Cohn. There's a certain subset of lifters, like guys like Stan Efferding, Ed Cohn, John Hack, where if you're not a power lifter, you might know who those people are because you've seen them on YouTube. Larry Wheels, Hafthor Bjornsson, Eddie Hall. Lots of people know who they are. They don't participate in strongman sports, but those guys have they've broken out of that niche corner, the denizens of the internet. They've broken away from that and they've become celebrity status. And I'll never probably achieve that, but inside of that small subset, I am well known, and that's kind of cool. I'm a minor, so like when I go to IPL Worlds, people from all over the world come to compete, and a lot of them knew who I was because of this silly little YouTube channel, and that's cool. That's exactly what I wanted. Outside of that, most people are like, why am I going to listen to this guy? They don't care about weightlifting. Like, they have no idea, like, the difference between I think we like nice even numbers, like a 405 bench, 315 bench, 495 bench, 600-pound deadlift. It's an easy number. It's relatable, like, because nobody knows the difference between a 595-pound deadlift and a 610-pound deadlift. So let's say, like, if you put that extra 10 pounds on the bar, like, it's not any more impressive to somebody who can't pick 225 pounds up. It's just insane. You see 6 plates on the bar, you don't know it's 585, you just know it's 6 plates on the bar, and it's a lot. So it's kind of like, to those people, they don't really care about the nuance and the detail and the little things that, the accountability that we hold each other to, where we're so pedantic and we call out minor bench forms, and like if your butt comes off the bench, or if a lift doesn't count because you didn't hit parallel, or you stutter stepped when you were racking the weight, or whatever little minor digs we take at each other to discredit each other in the eyes of everyone else. Like, none of those people care about that stuff. They have no idea what we're talking about, and we do that to each other, and it makes me wonder, like, why are we as a community so vile to each other? I don't know. I have a hard time grasping a person, and since none of them give a crap, and those are the people I'm trying to cultivate as potential customers, if you will, I have to find some other way to be relatable, and that's usually has nothing to do with weightlifting. That has to do with, like, being entertaining. What they find entertaining about me, I don't know. But people tell me that they see the way I like to present myself in videos. Okay, cool. I have to basically turn into from a power lifter into a monkey boy. Dance for your dollar, monkey. Ting, 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 ting. Oh, man. So it seems like my thing is essentially taking troll comments. And this one thing I have noticed that every single lifting channel has in common is the second you try to push an achievement onto social media, people that, let's say, I don't appreciate it or can't achieve it, just crap all over it. And YouTube just gives them a free license to do so. So that is, you say ubiquitous with strength sports, is people that troll. So it seems like my formula for success is to engage with the trolls and try to have fun with it. And we all have a good laugh together. And I would say 99.9% of it is a good time. And sometimes a useful discussion comes out of it, and we have a good laugh, and everybody moves on with it. But that little tiny group of, the crabs in a bucket group, I call them. Anytime you try to separate yourself from the herd, there's a small period of growth where you're doing better than everybody, but you're still kind of at their level. That's where the most vitriol is targeted. You see a guy like Eddie Hall, who deadlifted, 1,100 pounds, wearing a bench suit. He was a bloat lord. He put on a ton of weight. He had straps on. All the things that you would call out the average lifter online for, Eddie Hall had on. But nobody was like, oh, that doesn't count. He was wearing a squat suit. Why? Because it was so far ahead of what any human being should be capable of. To call him out for wearing a squat suit is just pedantic. It's like, okay, he's still 1,100 pounds, or was it Mendelson? He benched, 1,000 pounds with a custom-made multi-ply bench shirt that probably provided him 400 pounds of resistance. So a 600-pound bench, he was able to bench 1,100 pounds or 1,000 pounds with that suit shirt on. And nobody calls him out saying, well, the shirt did all the lifting for him. Why? Well, because the weight was so heavy that he's one of a few handful of people on earth that could even unrack the thing and hold it, let alone bench press it. And there's such a technique to being able to keep that bar in the groove, to touch your chest, and then still be able to press it. It's such a superhuman physical, like, there's so much that goes into it. He said that his bones were bending while he was pressing it. The weight is so absurd that even though the suit, for all intents and purposes, did have to lift for him, it's still incredible. And then you take the shirt away and he's still a 600-pound bench presser. It's like, okay, that's also puts him in the top 1% of 1% of 1% of humans that have ever existed on the planet. I think you can count how many people have benched over 600 pounds with all of your hands and toes. Like, is there more than 20? There's definitely not more than 40 people that have ever lived that have hit over 600. Because we tried to, on record anyways. So obviously nobody talks crap about those guys because what they do is just so incredible. There's nothing you can say that would make you sound like a reasonable person to say something. But for guys like us who are just starting to maybe separate ourselves a little bit from the rest of the people, the denizens, we represent the achievement that they could have if they put a little work in. So it's easy for them to grab onto us and pull us back into the pot. We haven't separated ourselves enough. We're still human. They're superhuman. We're elite, but we're still human, where you could tear us down to their level. What do they say? They say steroids. They call out your lifts for every little pedantic criticism. Oh, that set doesn't count because you touched and goed, or whatever. Stupid stuff like that. So anything that they can say that's negative about what you're doing, they're gonna say in order to tear you down to their level, which honestly they wouldn't have achieved. They haven't achieved most of the stuff that they're calling you out for. It's like, I've never met a strong, competent male that would call out another man for something he can't do. Like, strong, competent people don't do that. So you're inherently showing yourself as being weak and having some sort of a personality disorder by being that way. But none of that matters. We don't have control over anybody else. I was just spitballing, how to ride this roller coaster and keep it enjoyable without losing yourself to just the mire, the vitriol, the hatred, it's a vomitorium. And quite simply, the answer is be the person you want to hang out with. Don't take yourself too seriously. My friend, he came on my page and he was talking crap to me, and when I gave it back to him, I guess he went on a live stream and got drunk and was just like losing his crap on camera, and it's like kind of bugged me to think that a stupid interaction, a meaningless stupid interaction on YouTube comments was enough to cause somebody to spiral out of control mentally. And that makes me sad. It's like, why are you doing this to yourself? And how do I prevent, like sometimes I take things personal, some people say things to me, and every once in a while it gets under my skin, and I get to thinking, it's like, why would it doesn't matter, it's YouTube, it's like, who cares? You just gotta keep it fun, just keep a smile on your face, and keep just trying to keep it moving, man. Life, tomorrow's promised to nobody, and you can't take yourself so seriously. You gotta laugh a little bit, have some fun, stop being so serious, and stop tearing other people down and try to make yourself look better. Nobody likes you. Nobody likes that guy. Don't be that guy. I don't know. It just had the thought cross my mind. I was thinking about yesterday's live stream and how crazy it got for a minute there, and I just had to laugh, and that's when I started looking at other channels, and I was like, wow, these guys really take themselves seriously. Like, they act like what we're doing is just like, I guess it would be the equivalent of the people that think that material possessions have somehow make you a better person. Like, if you drive a Mercedes, you're a better person than somebody that drives a Chevy. I drive like E-Class, one of those people. And I think that's kind of how lifters can be sometimes. At least that's the impression I got watching some of these channels. You guys are really, 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 I don't know, they get severe ego issues. It's like, the funny thing is I have like a lot of personality disorders. Like, I have body dysmorphia. I grew up in an abusive environment. I was homeless as a kid. Like, I've been through a lot. But if anything, it's kind of taught me that life's not that serious. Maybe it's like the existentialist in me, where it's like you embrace the absurdity of life, and that's how you find meaning. I could be that. I don't know. But to me, it's like I just can't take this stuff too seriously. It's a joke, and we're the punchline. Let's have a laugh together. That's all I'm saying. I love you guys. See you in the battlefield.